Remember the song years ago about the little Nash Rambler? You remember? And so on. Well, this was not the little Nash Rambler or the little tiny car. This was the car that made you sense the dignity and the carriage. And when I say carriage, I mean the way a person carries him or herself. And you realize that this is an important move that this person has made. And there aren't that many that people can have. So when you stand with a Rolls Royce, you stand for a certain standard. And standards are what we need these days.
And when he stepped out of that car with his chain, with this, not chain, but cane, this marvelous cane with a golden symbol. Everything he did had meaning. And the photographers questioned him. They said, Reverend Ike, you're a minister of Jesus Christ. They said, Jesus never rode in a Rolls Royce. Reverend Ike said, yes, he did. He said, in Jesus' days, in the days of Jesus Christ, the Jackass was the best ride you could get, and Jesus was on it. He said, so the Jackass was the Rolls Royce of Jesus' day. Reverend Ike always wanted to be an example, not an exception, but an example. And he says, hey, Doc, he says, we're going to fly first class. He says, for some reason, I want to be up there. I said, me too. We flew first class, and he and I were having such a wonderful time until this man came from the other side of the plane. It was a big 747, and he said, who are you two men? He says, I have never heard two men laughing and being joyful and speaking and talking like. He says, may I ask who you are? And big mouth me, you know. I said, why, this is Reverend Ike. He says, oh, you are Reverend. He said, you know, I think I heard about you. And I said, and I'm Dr. Alfred Miller, his associate. He says, oh, then I've heard about you too, because when you hear about Reverend Ike, you hear about all of the good people that surround him. And do you know who that man was? Bob Hope. It was Mr. Bob Hope. Bob Hope ordered a special seat so he could join us. He said he had never heard people talk the way we talk. He says, I thought I was the only person teaching people to be happy. He said, I thought I was the only person teaching people to laugh and teaching people to be jubilant. He says, but when I hear you talking, he says, I got to get in on this. We talked all the way to Los Angeles. Bob Hope, Reverend Ike, and myself. And guess what? When that plane landed in Los Angeles, the pink limousine was waiting. Reverend Ike and I started toward the pink limousine, and the chauffeur was there, beautiful, with his gloves on. See, they had never seen this kind of a demonstration. You know what Bob Hope said? He said, do you think I'm going to ride in that Cadillac over there when I have a chance? He says, Reverend Ike, you're dropping me off in Beverly Hills.
What Reverend Ike began to show is the liberation of people and empowerment. And one of the things that he began to demonstrate to the poor is the best thing you can do for the poor is not to be one of them.
I think that history will record that when the church expanded, Reverend Ike was the one that paid that price in terms of liberating our options, our possibility, our not only image to the world, but our image to ourselves. We start looking at ourselves differently. So people stopped just coming to our churches to look for a beat. They came to look for how they could get free and think. And Frederick Eikerenkoda did that for us.
Reverend Ike receiving the Mentor Award is really something that is well earned. He has taught, I believe, all of the great teachers that are present at this particular time. I believe that he have impacted everybody's life, not only those that are students, but even the preachers and the teachers that are coming from all walks of life in all types of denominations, affiliations, whatever, wherever they are coming from. I believe that they have been impressed and that they too have changed their way of teaching and ministering to people because they are aware that they can teach the truth.
And as Henry Adams said, a teacher affects eternity. You can never tell where his influence stops. And certainly Reverend Ike fulfills that saying. The true teacher, the master teacher, the Red Sama of all times, the master.
Congratulations, Reverend Ike, on receiving the Mentor's Award. God bless you. I love you.
I want to say that my life has been what it is now because of you, Reverend Ike. And I want to say that when I met you, it really, my life just had begun. I thought I was living, but when I met you, I really started living. Not only me, I want to thank you for the love that my wife has for you. I want to thank you for my son, who you embraced as a godfather, and you loved him, and he loves you. And I want to thank you for the love, the time that you took out to do the things that you did. And even now, our beautiful grandbaby, she calls me Papa. So I says, how about Reverend Ike? I say Papa, Papa. So when she thinks of you, she says, Papa, Papa, Papa. See, Alfred is Pop, Papa, Papa. I'm Papa, Papa, but Reverend Ike is Papa, 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 Papa. And I want you to know that we will never forget your love and the things that you have done for us. And Reverend Ike, Papa, 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 the greatest tribute I can say to you is the way I refer to you, my beloved. You are that. There has never been another person. God bless you. Live as long as you want to, and want to as long as you live. You deserve every year that God has placed and appointed for you here in this world. We love you and bless you, and we thank God for you.
To my father in the gospel, I would like